I got a fantastic request for something that I was surprised I had not made a standalone video before. What are the differences between amateur radio and other FCC-acknowledged services? Lots of acronyms here like General Mobile Radio Service, the Family Radio Service, Multi-Use Radio Service, MURS, and of course Citizens Band, or CB Radio Service. Let's break this down and explain how they all differ, because they are much more alike than amateur radio is alike to any of them. I'll explain though. Let's go to the computer. It's always made the most sense to me starting with the simplest things and then working to complex, and amateur radio is going to be the most complex service to walk through here. So let's just take a look from the word of mouth of the FCC. Remember, the country of your origin is likely going to have their own version of the FCC, right? Ofcom comes to mind, I think, from the UK, for instance, etc. I'll make a quick note, too, for everybody that's going to give me heat about, well, why do these services exist? Why do licenses exist, etc., etc. I want to remind everybody the electromagnetic spectrum is finite. What do I mean? Well, the frequencies that we use for radio. Let's just talk GMRS for a second. What are our frequencies? Well, 462 and 467, right? Channel spaces around there. Well, if you looked at the entirety of the radio frequency spectrum, from 0 up into the multi-10 gigahertz type space, that's finite, meaning you can't just mine up more frequencies. Those frequencies are what we have, and that's all there is. And if you were to ask all the businesses, companies, organizations, hobbyists like amateur radio operators, how much of that frequencies they'd want, they'd raise their hand and say, well, I'd like all of them, please. We can't afford to have everyone have every bit of access that they want. So we do the best we can by slicing up those frequency spaces and giving some access to as many different organizations, companies, and hobbyists, free peoples as we possibly can. So why does a license exist for things like amateur radio? Well, if all the amateur radio operators died off and there was no more amateur radio operators, how would the FCC know that they could just go and sell off those frequencies if there wasn't some mechanism like a license to tell them that there's still people out there that want to use those frequencies and that they're in demand? If amateur radio licenses started to drop off and we were in a steep decline, well, the FCC, after 5-10 years, could easily say, maybe we should let this whole amateur radio thing go and sell off all those frequencies because they're worth a lot of money. Instead, we've seen amateur radio licensing go up, and because of that, the FCC knows that, no, there are people that care about this hobby, this aspect of the service that is amateur radio, and that we will likely go out on the watchtower to defend it. All right, there's soapbox rant over. Let's take a look at GMRS, right? The General Mobile Radio Service is a licensed radio service that uses channels around 462 megahertz and 467 megahertz. The most common use of GMRS channels is for short-distance, two-way voice communications using handheld radios, mobile radios, and repeater systems. In 2017, the FCC expanded GMRS to also allow short data messaging applications, including text messages and GPS location information. Pretty straightforward. Close-in, two-way communication, largely with voice within the UHF, ultra-high frequency space. How do I know that? Well, it's 462 megahertz to 467. A key point, though, channels. Every GMRS radio that you pick up is going to be channelized. You may see a frequency, but most of the time you'll just see channel 16, channel 9. Those channels are locked in, and all the users of GMRS must use those channels. It's something that you're going to see with FRS, Citizens Band, and MURS, Multi-Use Radio Service. They're all channelized radio services. And the FCC makes special note, services that provide functionalities similar to GMRS include Citizens Band, Family Radio Service, and the Multi-Use Radio Service. In fact, two of those services are on their own unique frequency sets that may make those services a little bit better for you depending on what it is you might be doing. MURS, for instance, operates in the VHF, very high frequency space, which for some people is going to work a little bit better for longer distance two-way communication. And getting really in the weeds, if you do a bit of a deep dive, so Title 47 includes most of the part acceptance rules that the FCC defines. So if you go all the way from Title 47, Chapter 1, Subchapter D, Part 95, that's where GMRS exists, in Subpart E, then it breaks it down even further into subsections under that. If you go to permissible GMRS uses, generally, GMRS and FRS are used for things that are concerning personal or business activity. They can also be used for emergency communications, one-way communications to call for help, provide warning of hazards on the road, to make brief transmission tests, traveler's assistance, and digital data, which was added, I believe, last year, 2022. For nominal things, kind of similar to what APRS use is like for amateur radio operators. Now, oftentimes GMRS gets compared to amateur radio. I think in the sense that, there is mobile radios in GMRS and amateur radio that are 50 watts. Handhelds are generally 4 to 5 watts. But that's really where the similarities end. Both amateur radio and GMRS has a UHF component. In fact, that's all GMRS is UHF for frequency space. But the primary delineating factor for me is that GMRS is a channelized service, along with what I would call its little brother, although not entirely little brother, is the family radio service. FRS and GMRS share the frequency spaces within that UHF frequency space we talked about, up in the 462 and 467 megahertz. The difference is that FRS is a non-licensed radio service, which basically is like any of those blister pack radios you might find at Walmart, your Spider-Man radios, if you were. They're likely using FRS. If you'd like to upgrade to a more power output like that 4 to 5 watt handheld of the GMRS users, then you generally have to get a GMRS license, which is $35 via the FCC website and is good for 10 years. It covers you, your spouse, your direct family, and I believe it even covers your parents and your parent-in-law, depending on their location. Remember, this is, again, for short communication between two parties when they are separated in an area where you may not want to use cell phones, or you just rather use a service like FRS or GMRS. Now, FRS, on the other hand, you pretty much have to use exactly the radio as it's defined, as in the blistered packs, and they're generally low power output. They're designed to not actually put out much power, because if you were going to put out much more power, you should just go get your GMRS license, right? So FRS, I include it just for completeness. It operates pretty much on the same frequency space that GMRS does, and it is primarily only two-way back and forth, radio to radio, small little handheld type communication. Now, since we're talking about two-way handheld, handy-talkie type communication, we might as well hit up multi-use radio service, MURS. So if GMRS was the UHF portion, the frequency space for channelized radio, then MURS would be the VHF, very high frequency. MURS exists within the 151 to 154 megahertz spectrum area. What does that mean? Well, it has less channels than GMRS, also operating at a lower frequency. MURS is likely going to perform better when you're out in the open. If you're out in the open and there's not too much stuff in between your two parties, MURS is likely going to perform slightly better, if not noticeably better, depending on, again, what you got outside. GMRS and its UHF realities of the frequencies that it exists on is going to work a little bit better within buildings, in and around more organic material like trees. There are situations where GMRS is going to be the better option than MURS. Also, there are not that many channels with MURS. In fact, there are only 5 channels for MURS, which interoperability-wise, would I want to depend on that in an emergency if there were a lot of people on MURS? Probably not. A little bit of a note here for people that remember, MURS is authorized 5 channels that were previously in the Industrial Business Radio Service and were known as the color dot frequencies in Part 90 of the FCC rules. So both GMRS and MURS, they allow for commercial use of their radios. So you can use this in a small business space. If you were in a warehouse and you were conducting business with somebody else had to walk to the end of the warehouse to see if the forklift was over there, you could do that communication over GMRS or MURS. Amateur radio, you could not do that. There is no pecuniary interest with regards to amateur radio, in the sense that you cannot use amateur radio in part of any business that you would be running. It cannot help in the logistics of you facilitating business. Now, it might sound like we're repeating things a little bit, but Citizens Band shares a similar write-up with what it's all about. Citizens Band, or CBRS radio service, is a private, two-way, short-distance voice communication service for personal or business activities in the general public. It also may be used for voice paging. It is authorized 40 channels, so that's a pretty decent chunk of channels, between 26.965 megahertz and 27.405 megahertz. CB's been around for a really long time. It's very popular. It remains still popular. There's a lot of people who absolutely love it, and more power to you. And even note, similar services include GMRS, which we've already talked about. The CB service provides a service for short-distance communications by individuals and business. Over the years, changes occurred to the service, such as adding additional channels. However, the purpose of the service has remained the same. And here's a breakdown of all the channels. Now, should be noted again, what have we done? Well, GMRS, MURS, CB, we just picked up different frequency spaces, but it's still channelized. The number of channels may go up, the number of channels may go down, but they're all channelized. And again, what does that mean? Well, the companies that produce radios, such like GMRS radios, CB radios, etc., have to have their radios certified for use on those services. Something that a lot of people do in CB is they'll get a modified CB radio that, instead of putting out the limited 4 watts of output, it's putting out like 100 watts of output. Technically, that radio is no longer acceptable to be used within the Citizens Band radio service and would be a violation of FCC rules if you used it. We saw this happen recently. There was someone that got busted for the illegal use of a modified radio transmitter. It turned out because that radio was modified that then they were actually also in violation of being unauthorized to be on that radio service. Once you change anything to do with a type accepted radio, and again, type accepted means GMRS type accepted, CB type accepted, FRS, MURS, etc. Once you modify that radio in any way, then you're technically unauthorized to be able to use it within that radio service, right? What's the exception? Well, this is what separates amateur radio from all of this. Amateur radio operators, the individual is licensed, similar to GMRS, but there's an extra step. GMRS users have to still use a type-accepted radio. Amateur radio operators do not. As long as we're able to ensure that we're not creating harmful interference and that we're meeting power requirements and staying within some standardized expectations, we can use any radio we want. We can build a radio if we wanted to do so. You can't do that with any of the other radio services. It's just not allowed, at least with the FCC. There may be some differences within other countries, but I am not aware of any of those. So oddly enough, one of the biggest insults that people like to throw around in amateur radio is that, oh, you're just an appliance operator. Well, an appliance like a refrigerator is something you don't really modify. You don't, soup up your refrigerator to make it colder, for instance. I guess some people do. But anyway, a radio that is an appliance is simply operated in the way that the manufacturer intended you operate it. Case in point, a GMRS radio, what's it going to do? It's going to have multi-channels. It's going to have 5 watts output. You use it, you're happy, that's it. CB, maybe less of that, but generally you're supposed to stay within the manufacturer-selected guidelines and how it was accepted by the FCC. So the biggest thing is that they're just kind of restricted. GMRS, CB, all that, they're restricted to certain frequencies. They cannot step outside of those frequencies. And they're locked down to be type accepted for the operation that's supposed to be expected of them. Amateur radio has no restrictions, and we've got way more bands of operation. We have bands higher than GMRS. We have bands lower than CB, way, way lower than CB. So we can do worldwide communication, where CB is really only good for worldwide communication during the day and only a couple of years during an 11-year solar cycle. And don't get me wrong, I'm not crapping on CB or any of these other services. I'm just pointing out that amateur radio operator has way more capabilities than any of the other radio services. And so comparing them is kind of like moot or really just done for some kind of elitist argument. I use CB. I'm GMRS licensed. I have FRS radios, but I spend most of my time on amateur radio. It's more or less just a tool, and picking the right tool for the job is always going to be the most important thing. If you found this video helpful, boy howdy, I'd love it if you gave me a thumbs up and considered subscribing. Anyway, I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. 73.